can have exactly the same offer and exactly the same business, talking to exactly the same clients, because it's competitive, right? But one person's making 11 times more offers. Who's going to get more clients? Who's going to get the better clients? Offers. And, you know, say you had 100 leads to get those 8 sales calls. If you had 100 people with the same offer, because it's written down and you can send it to everybody, would you rather make 100 offers a week or make 8? Who do you think is going to make more money?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It's just math.
Yeah.
And this, that high ticket closing, call funnels, this, you know, really complex shit, often it just prevents people from making the amount of offers that they need to make.
Yeah.
And like, you know, Mr. Hormozy does talk about that in the sense of like the volume factor that the successful do versus the unsuccessful is orders of magnitude like greater.
Yeah.
Right? You know, eight versus 100. You know, the person making 100 offers is making 11 times more offers than the person making 8. They can have exactly the same offer and exactly the same business, talking to exactly the same clients, because it's competitive, right? But one person's making 11 times more offers. Who's going to get more clients? Who's going to get the better clients? Who's going to do it with more ease? Yeah, I know which one I'm backing.
Yeah. And also, I think there's a hidden factor in there because you kind of dropped and hinted towards the Alex Hormozy, and who obviously, like, you know, has just blown up in our space over the last 2 years. But I think most people understand, like, you know, how many people are going to actually get to his level of success and build $100 million plus and multiple businesses doing $100 million plus. And all of that is like, you have to really, really love the game of business, because you're going to be teams and systems and managing and constantly recruiting new talent. Like what we're really talking about in a lot of ways is like kind of like the unbusiness of just like, I just want me and another dude, an ATM. I spend most of my day, you know, at the beach doing what I want to do. I help people as much as I can, but that's all done in a leveraged way. Even the way I sell is leveraged, the way I deliver it is leveraged, so that, you know, like it works for me and I don't feel burnt out by that kind of situation. I think that's like, I think most people, if they're really, really raw and real, would way rather like go our direction and have more of the unbusiness and less of the like, hey, I got this $100 million machine that has enterprise value and stuff like that, and more just like something that like makes my life cool today.
Yeah, most people don't want a business.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, 99% of people don't want a business. They don't want the responsibility. They don't want the overheads. They don't want the stress to do with it. They want cash flow and a life. And if you design a business versus designing a life and a business that serves it, then you're going to get into very different places. You know, and I've fallen into it more than once of looking at a mentor or someone that I was investing in or learning from, and essentially building a business that was just like this, right? And then because my skills are pretty high and I'm pretty good at a lot of stuff, the worst thing that happened was I became successful building someone else's business, but to live inside it and operate it.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I like really tapped in with what's important to me. You know, I've got 2 kids, I'm a single dad, you know, I've got strong constraints and boundaries. I live in Bali, you know, I live in a non-standard kind of, you know, place in terms of how the week unfolds and lifestyle and those pieces. It wasn't until I optimized those things and optimized for that, and then built a business that fed those, that it got really clear about what activities and behavior and products and offers and positioning was right for me. And I think you got to go through a certain amount of like building complexity and building some stress in to realize that you don't necessarily want it. But people definitely need to be cautious that they're following and aspiring to build something that, you know, someone else has built that fits their values and fits their lifestyle much more than, hey, this dude can make me some money. Because that's easy. Like making money, we've got massive leverage, we've got huge margins. If you do the basics, you become quote unquote successful. But doing it your way, that's important.
I think it's actually the most important thing. Like to me, like the 2 most important ways are the way in which you earn it, as well as the kinds of people that you do it with. And I found that to, especially like in an agency, like I find, you know, like a lot of times people will come to me and they got, let's a fucking nightmare client roster, and they're looking for me to salvage it. And the truth is, it's like you kind of sold your soul to get to 10, 20, 30K a month. And like you said, sometimes we all got to dabble in that to know how miserable that is. And, you know, for me, that was my first agency of just like, um, we had a lot of financial success. I hated every single one of my clients. I hated what I was doing to earn it. I didn't even like the way I was building the team, and I didn't like any of the work. But man, like, you know, at the end of the day, like the cash part of the machine,
money.
the money was fucking great. But I'm like, I wanted to put a bullet in my head most of the days. It took for me, like I actually, like, you know, went down to the jungle and drank some ayahuasca and had to trip my face off to just sort through, like, why isn't this thing working for me? And ultimately what I realized is just what you said, that like, if I ignored the money part of the scoreboard and I started looking at the other pieces of like the kinds of people and the kind of work I was doing, like, other than the money scoreboard, everything else was like, you know, a net loss, and that one thing was really good. And I think people underestimate that when they see Hermosi, who like clearly loves the game of business and will play it forever until the end of time. And like, you know, you've heard him say in different videos where it's like, you know, I just sit in a corner and want to work more, kind of thing. And for guys like us, that like, that's actually the opposite of what you're trying to do, is you want to, you know, be able to go hang with your kids. Like, I share that same kind of value. Like, most of my day is getting bossed around going, daddy, I'm hungry, daddy, make me this, daddy, she took my toy, why can't I have that? Can we go get an ice cream? No, you can't just eat ice cream every meal, sweetheart. I know that sounds delicious. But to me though, like, that's the part you want to optimize first, is like, how can I have the most amount of time doing that, and then fit the rest of the pieces in there. So I think that's a really key insight that just comes from like, I think the only way to find that out for real is just build a business you hate and do it for a long time, or at least enough time to realize you hate it. And then you'll go like, fuck, I don't want to do this anymore.
Hey guys, if you like this video, you'll probably also like our free Facebook group, Beyond Agency Profits, Agency Lifestyle Design. You can get free copies of the book inside here. I look ridiculous. We're doing weekly Q&As, giving answers to all your questions. Some of the best, smartest, brightest people. We've got lots of industry leaders doing 7, 8 figures and beyond. It's a literal who's who of the brightest agency owners that I know, as well as lots of tips on scaling and stuff, books that work. So if you're not already part of it, you're going to want to be part of it. So make sure to click the link. I put it in the description of the video, as well as in the pinned top comment below. So just scroll down and you can join, and it's totally free.